Hello everyone and welcome to the House Assembly for Wednesday the 11th of May. There's a bit to get through today. I'm going to quickly give you an update on the Fantasy Premier League, followed by some new DV awards. Then there's a House competition update, and then a musical interlude from Elliot Mayer playing the guitar. And then finally, it is Mental Health Awareness Week, so there's a short video that I'd like to show you. And then we'll finish this with an assembly on social responsibility, which has been put together by all the House captains. So the Fantasy Premier League, you can see that at the moment, Liverpool unfortunately had a draw with Tottenham, which means they are now 3 points behind Man City on the same number of games played. So it's really up to City to lose the Premiership title rather than Liverpool to win it. But both teams continue to win most of their games. It's getting a bit tighter now between Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham. Man United seem to be fading away, as does West Ham and Wolves. So I'm very pleased to announce that the manager of the month for April, or last month, was actually myself. I just about pipped Mr. Berryman into second place. And you can also see that Miss Huns was in the top 9 as well. So it was quite tight, but I'm pleased to say that I got manager of the month. So it's about time I did something this year. And as far as the HSB League standings go, Ollie Stote is still way ahead, almost 100 points ahead of Harry Thomas. Mr. Campbell remains in 3rd, Mr. Bunny in 5th, and Mrs. Hook in 8th place. As far as the Staff League standings go, Mr. Campbell is still way ahead of Mr. Bunny, with Mrs. Hook 3rd. I have managed at last to overtake Mr. Manley, and I'm now into 6th place, with Mr. Berryman in my sights. As for the bottom half of the staff table, Mr. Norris is leading that, just followed by Mr. Nab. And you can see that down the bottom, Mr. Scott is struggling. Mr. McLeod now pulling 90 points ahead of him at the moment. As far as games coming up for the rest of this week, well, obviously Aston Villa, Liverpool will have been played last night. I don't know what that score is. I suspect Liverpool will have won that one. But there's some more games this week, and then on Sunday and Monday through to Thursday next week, a load more games again. So make sure you've got your team selected. As far as the Duke of Edinburgh Awards go, last time we did this was in February, so 2 or 3 months ago. And we've had a few people complete their bronze awards. So Jaden Chiam, Sam Cotton, Henry Howell, Daniel Keys, Oliver McGeechee, and George Pike, Ryan Rizvi, Freddie Ryland, Henry Shuttleworth, and Liam Watts. And their badges will be in their tutor trays together with their certificates. Same thing for the silvers. So we had a few silvers too. Daniel Boyens, Christina Cade, Matthew Daniel, Luca Fremantle, John T. Lee, and Noah Struthers. So the same thing applies there. Their badges and certificates will be in their tutor trays. I'd like to move on to the House Championship, and we'll start with the Competition Cup. So the only real change here has been the table tennis results, which mean that instead of Campbell and Winstanley being tied on the points there, that Campbell have pulled away very slightly, and Newton have also gained some points. There's not been any change really in the cross-curricular stuff, so still Newton way ahead with Winstanley in 2nd. As far as the Community Cup goes, Campbell is quite a bit ahead, but they have had one extra community duty. We've still to input the data for the Edison and Newton, which will come in the next week. Curriculum challenges, very little change again. Newton way ahead with Smeaton in 2nd. Commendations, Smeaton has now overtaken both Winstanley and Newton, who are leading the way with commendations. So Smeaton are ahead, Winstanley 2nd, and a very tight joint 3rd, if you like, between Edison and Newton. Campbell continue to struggle as far as commendations go, and they're a very large part of the overall competition. As you can see, 60 points for Campbell up to nearly 110, 112 for Smeaton, so it's a really big difference. But overall, the competition looks like this. So we've got a new leader at the moment in Smeaton, with Newton just behind them and Winstanley in 3rd. Okay, a quick musical interlude now from Elliot Mayer. Okay, so well done to Elliot Mayer from 9C. And this week is actual Mental Health Awareness Week, so I've just got another short video I'd like to
Any one of us can feel lonely, anytime, anywhere. We can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. Some of us are more at risk than others, but research has shown that millions of us feel lonely some or all of the time. And long-term loneliness can make us feel anxious or depressed and have a serious effect on our mental health. Yet while millions of us experience feelings of loneliness, we can still find it hard to talk about. 1 in 5 of us hide our feelings of loneliness from others. It can be hard, but there are things we can do for ourselves and for others. Acknowledging we've all been there is a start. And by coming together, we can tackle loneliness. We can also help influence policy, support each other, and help prevent mental health problems. This Mental Health Awareness Week, we want to let everyone living with loneliness know that their mental health matters. And together, we can make change happen.
Okay. So the next few slides have been put together by the House Captains, who are busy at the moment because they're doing their mocks, and it's on social responsibility. Some of them have the House Captain speaking. One of them, actually, the volume is very low, so I may need to speak over that one. And the last one from Campbell doesn't have any audio, so I shall talk over that slide.
I think one of the most important social responsibilities is to be aware. I recently became part of the DHSP Against Sexual Harassment campaign, and something I brought to those meetings that I want to share today is awareness of our social privilege. This isn't commenting on the personal lives of the students in the school, but on the fact we've all grown up in an institutionally sexist world. And so, as a school, certainly in the lower years, filled with boys and young men, it's going to be really important to be aware of this privilege we have and how it might impact us internally and externally. Everybody has internalised these areas of our society on some level, but before we can move on to being more socially conscious, we have to notice and examine what our privilege might be, how it might affect our perception. I would say, therefore, our social responsibility as young men is then to think about what our responses might be to the world around us, particularly on issues related to sexism, and how that might be impacted by our social position. Why you might think what you do about a certain situation. Thank you for listening.
So how can we show social responsibility? As individuals and a collective, we have a social responsibility to take moral action. So this includes the obvious: kindness, respect, and politeness, like we're taught in nursery, or just picking up litter. These actions are relatively easy to practice on a day-to-day as they only reflect positively. You usually find when you smile at somebody, they're not going to get annoyed. However, sometimes it is important to practice social responsibility that may lead to confrontation, whether that's standing up for somebody who's being picked on, or even standing in when somebody says something out of line. As you can see, there are many ways to practice social responsibility.
So this is the one I mentioned where the voice is very, very quiet. So I shall talk over this one. So this is about historical responsibility, and it's the action of taking accountability for our past actions. So why is that important? Well, social responsibility has been important throughout human history, evolving from individual responsibility and community to include business and corporate responsibility. Shown in both the contribution to and causation of climate change and benefit from climate change, multi-million companies in developed Western nations have benefited from pollution and have not taken responsibility and have not put new precautions in to preserve human life. The oppression of races, gender and poverty is ensuring that events from the past aren't forgotten and make sure we strive to help others for a more equal society.
Cultural responsibility. A culturally responsible attitude respects, safeguards, and promotes cultural diversity. In order to be culturally responsible, you need to have self-awareness. This entails accepting and acknowledging that you may internally have a bias or a predisposition of what things may be like or what cultures may be like. However, first recognizing this and being able to change it is the first step to being culturally inclusive. Self-management. This entails being able to be adaptable, having the flexibility and optimism and resilience to be able to change what you are doing in your group or in your area or with your friends to make sure that it is inclusive for other people. This also means having a goal setting and planning to understand that you may have to do something differently or it may take longer just to help and fit other people's needs. Relationship management. This is incorporating your friendships, teamwork, leadership, hierarchies to share a shared vision and be able to have problem solving and conflict solving and decision making to make plans change to accept and include other people's cultures. And finally, empathy and social awareness. This is the verbal and non-verbal communication that we put out and showing that you are tolerant and accepting and you can include other people's cultures into your views or plans.
Political responsibility is the framework in which political action and discourse should take place. In our society, many different people have different views about how society should be governed and the people that should be in charge. We may not always agree with someone else's beliefs and opinions, but it is important that we respect them and tolerate them, so we have a respectful and tolerant society, as well as the fact that we can discuss different political topics with people and reach a good conclusion so that we can improve society. There's no point getting annoyed at someone or getting angry and attacking them and insulting them whilst you're having a discussion, because that doesn't improve society, it doesn't get anyone anywhere, and it just creates resentment. Furthermore, we also have a responsibility to be part of the political landscape. This might be through voting, as a very obvious example, but it's more than that. You can have a political discussion with your friends, think about where you lie on different political issues, contentious ones especially, as well as if you feel very strongly about something, you can go out and protest for what you believe in.
Okay, so the final slide is social responsibility from Campbell House. Unfortunately, there's no audio to this, so I'll just take you through the slide. Social responsibility is defined as the obligation to work and cooperate with other individuals or organisations for the benefit of the local and wider community. And there's many examples of how you can personally uptake social responsibility. One of them is volunteering, whether it be in a care home or reading with a local primary school, or even being part of a larger organisation such as Military Cadets or St John's Ambulance. You will be reaching a wider community than you may usually encounter in day-to-day life, and you'll be helping to make a larger impact on the world, and it can be fun. By the way, if anyone has any questions about St John's Ambulance, please email or talk to Lucy Ottewell, who's one of the Campbell House captains. Kindness is another way that you can uptake social responsibility. You can do little things for people each day, for example, holding doors open or helping people with heavy items, asking to hand out books, etc. Although these may be idealized as being goody two-shoes activities, they are actually simple ways of making someone's day a bit easier and making yourself a kinder person. Dreams. Believe it or not, following your own dreams for the future, whether that be a certain job or lifestyle you wish to lead, is an easy way of acting socially responsible. Think about how many people are saved by the NHS each day, or how many people dance to a certain song. Keeping yourself happy and doing things you love to do will in turn make everyone happy. Thank you for listening today.